Okay, hello kids. So today, um, I'm recording this is day five, right? Ftmo free trial challenge, day five, and you can already see how this trade ended up, right? It was a loss, right? So I've taken five losses in a row, five losses in a row. That's crazy. But at the same time, like I'm still executing my strategy. I'm still executing the same processes, and it's currently the weekend. So what am I to do on the weekend? I'm to do advanced self review or weekend self review, performance self review. Go over all the trades that I took this week and really look at them to see what I did right or what I'm doing wrong, basically. And yeah, five losses in a row. That's not easy, but at the same time, yeah, it could be a lot of factors that play into that, like market conditions and all of that. All right, because we're seeing very, very sideways price movement, especially like price is not moving in one direction, right? Price is moving sideways, and that happens, right? And okay, from the last series I did where I was doing the forward testing of my training strategy, right? So we're having a couple of wins here and there, ended up with 11 wins and nine losses. So that was a good turnout. But on this series now, doing the Ftmo free trial, and now we are seeing five losses in a row. Like that's humbling. So like imagine being a trader and having good results from your trading strategy, and then you come into a period of the market where you're just on a losing streak, right? Everything you touch just turns to a loss. If you are not able to humble yourself when you win, like it's going to be so devastating when you're losing. It's going to be so devastating when you lose because it's like, oh my god, you're just going to feel so crazy, right? Everything is going to just be so overwhelming, right? It's going to be so overwhelming because you've puffed yourself up during the wins. Like if you go back to the series forward testing my trading model, I was never puffed up after a win. All I said was, let's see what happens after 20 trades, and I made it clear like this strategy it exceeded my expectations as of that time. Right, he exceeded my expectations as of that time. That doesn't mean I didn't take that as a sign to fund $10,000 or throw $10,000 into a trading account or trade $1,000. I didn't take that as a sign to trade a live account, even though I had the feeling of let's just go live and let's just make money with it. I was like, no, this we still have more work to do because you need to see there are both sides to everything, right? It's not just sweet. There's also the bitter side to it. There's also the difficult side to it, right? So it was something I really needed to calm down and say, okay, let's see what are the drawbacks of this trading model. What are the difficult? You can't just be perfect, right? And right here now, the market is exposing to us that our strategy is we're not invincible and we're not perfect, right? Never have I taken five losses in a row, but when I was forward testing, I did take five wins in a row, right? I had five wins in a row, and now I'm having five losses in a row. So you see that it's so crazy. And if we look at our results from the last 20 trades, right, we made 13R on that. Looking at this now, we are down 5R, right? So if you take 5R out of 13R, it's still a net gain of 8R, right? That's still a net gain of 8R. So we've taken five trades, and I'm like, that's a win, right? That's a win in itself. Saying like, okay, I know we have this free trial lasts for 14 days, right? So we've completed five trades, right? They'll go on the weekends, right? So we probably have just next week to trade, right? Next week to complete the whole um to complete the challenge, right? Like I said, what determines the success of this challenge is not the outcome. Rather, it is the fact that we stuck to the plan. Because if we do the same thing over and over and over and over, and we're doing the right thing, if we're repeating the same thing over and over and over, eventually we should come out profitable. It doesn't mean we should be profitable this week or next week. You don't know the weeks when you're going to be profitable. It's outstanding that we have five losses in a row, right? It's crazy. But at the same time, this is the reality of things. This is the reality of things. for those traders who are actually feeling like whatever strategy you're trading, when you start going through a losing streak and you're in drawdown, you start to panic. This is the reality of trading. You just have to either understand what's happening in the market, right, and maybe step away from the market until everything settles down, or you, but you cannot change the way you trade, right? You can't change the way you trade. It's either you step away from the market or you just reduce your risk at that time. But like stop trying to change the way you're trading. That's not the way to go about it, right? So we started this challenge and we're going to finish this challenge, regardless of the fact that I'm down 5R. I'm still not going to go into a trade trying to risk 1% or doing any of that. I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to have the fear of executing. Next week, you're going to see me execute the trades the same way. But I'm going to do an advanced self review. I'm going to go over all of my trades and see what the similarities the in my entries. Let's say, what kind of fair value gaps have I been trading, and all of that. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And then another thing I'm going to do is another thing I'm going to look at is another thing I'm going to try to do is to back test more. Because from my back testing, I did only 20. I did only a set of 20, but that's not enough. That's not a good enough sample size. So at the same time, this could also be telling us that okay, maybe our data collection was not enough. I collected only a sample size of 20. Why didn't I collect a sample size of 200, right? Or why didn't I backtest a whole year? I backtested maybe let's say 30 days worth of data. Why didn't I backtest 300 days worth of data, right? So that's something I need to go into because when you have a larger sample size, then you understand if your strategy is really profitable or not, right? So that's something that's very important. And this was why I said nobody should use this model. Nobody should use this model. I mentioned that many, many times. So if anybody has been taking trades or has been trying to take trades like this and it hasn't been going well for you, that's on you. That's not on me, right? Because I am still learning, right? I'm still learning. I'm only trying to give you a framework of what to do. So now, if you're listening to this, whatever your model is, make sure you backtest it because, like, I'm taking accountability for the fact that I did not do enough backtesting, right? I didn't do enough backtesting. So that is something I have to go and correct, right? And that's what trading, and that's sometimes why losing is not so bad. Losing is not so bad. Losing is not even bad in itself. It's not a negative thing. Losing sometimes exposes to you what you're doing wrong and what you've not done enough of. So now that I know, okay, I've not done enough of backtesting because I don't have a huge data, I don't have a huge sample size. What do I decide to do? I decide to go and do some more backtesting, right? So looking at the FTMO, you can see we are sloping down, but there's no sharp move to the downside, right? Even though we are on a losing streak, we are managing this account. We've been doing this for a week. There's some people that don't even stay up to a week in the challenges, right? But yeah, and you can see we've lost 265, roughly 2.5%, 2.65% of the account. Um, we've passed the daily loss. I told you no matter what, I can never violate this max daily loss. I can never violate this max loss. So all of these rules, the only thing that can stop us is actually this target, right? And risk management is very important, especially for new traders. You need to understand that. You can see losses, 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 but it's all good. And then I'm going to do my back testing, which is my responsibility. And then I'll see you guys next week. Stay safe.